A solution, project, and file. These are things that you need to be familiar with. A solution is like a file cabinet with many drawers and many file holders actually. And then a project is just one folder with few files, and of course file is a file, just a single document that is inside our file holder. So that is basically definition. Then we're going to go to properties. Properties are actually identifiers. You see a property window that identifies the objects that we deal with. You can sort them based on alphabetic order, as you see right over there, and then these are basically different things that we have. So the name of the form, for example, here is my form, as you see there, and then there are other properties that we are going to discuss. Right there you see a solution explorer, which on the top of that you will see a few different icons. One of them is for properties, the other one is to view the codes, and the other one show all files, and then collapse it, and then see if we do that, then all the files are hidden, and then when you show that, every single file and folder that we have, they are going to be displayed. And then refresh means that if you added something to that we will add later on. Okay, so right there, as you see, form 1, that's what we have. It needs a new name. So camel casing is something that we are using for this naming convention. So my form is going to be something that I selected for that. And let's go down and change few other things. Back color, there is another area that we can actually change the back color. You should not change the color of your form unless you are required to do that. Okay, the gray background is very common, and all Microsoft products are using that. So that should be the norm for your projects. So I'm gonna go back. So you saw that I changed the back color to blue, and then control is the one that is the actual color for all background. Then of course you can have a background image and other stuff that we are not going to do that for this class. Then we have actually for color that you can change it. Again, that is not recommended. Then we have icons, and which appears on the forms bar, actually title bar. And then we have text. So let me change the text right there. And my first app, and as soon as I click on OK, you see that it's right there. You will see an icon over there as well, but I want to really change that icon. So later on you will see that. Here is the main menu bar with few items in it. At this point, the only area that I'm interested to get into is a toolbox. Toolbox is a list of all objects that you can drag and drop on your forms. So for example, the first thing that I want to do is dragging a label. Label normally is used for input and output, and I'm going to rename that so you can see how that is renamed to the naming convention. So I call that name label. Remember that the first part of it is lowercase, and L for the control name is capitalized. And then under the text you can put anything that you want. Enter your name, and as soon as you click on it, enter your name is going to appear there. And let me go to toolbox once again, and this time I drag a text box which is right there. Okay, and when you want to place it on the form, it allows you the alignment options. You see that? So it's right there, and it's added. Let me go and add a label once again. Change the name of it. Very similar to the first one. This one should be password label. And then I'm gonna just say I'm showing you that you can actually click on the arrow, and a text area will be open for you, so you can put enter your password in it. It's much easier to see. I haven't renamed the text box yet, so let me rename that one as well. And I'm going to call that name text box. Password label. I think I made a mistake. I need to go back and change that. Let me retype the whole thing. Okay, oh, it tells me that there is something wrong. That's great to know, because there is a space. You see that? There shouldn't be any space. We can add another control, and that should be actually the password text box, and it's right there. And if I want the first text box gets the size and properties of the second one, I select the second one first and then select the first one, and then I go to, let's say that make the same sizes, and then I say both width and height, and you notice that everything and then while both of them are selected, if you just drag them, both of them are going to be dragged. This time I'm doing the opposite. I'm selecting the first one first while I'm holding control, of course, and then I go to make the same size, and as you see the second one got the properties for this first one. So that is how you can actually resize or align controls on your form. The next one that I want to talk about is basically adding something to this text box so it looks like a password. So under password character right over there, and just put a star. Means whatever the user enters becomes a star. Of course, the content is not going to change. It's just the view part of it is converted to a star. Okay. Also, there is a smart tag on the text box. If you click on multi-line, you will be able to resize the text box. Once you remove that, then that is not really an option anymore. So let's add a few buttons. So that's one of them, and I'm going to go ahead and change the name of it to process but, and process. So what we want to do, we want to make our programs more efficient. For example, this process, we want to add accessibility or shortcuts to that. So let's go to the text property of this button that is known as a process, and then add an ampersand. Ampersand, also known as accessibility key. So people without the use of mouse, they can hold Alt and the first letter of that button, and they don't need the mouse to activate that. So that is what we know as accessibility. The other thing is I'm going to add an image to our form. So for example, this is something very simple. An icon needs to be ICO file, and as you notice, it just was added on the top of the form right there. Let's add some more buttons. Of course, you can double click on the button or any of those controls and they will be added to your form as well, but I'm using the traditional way so you understand exactly what I'm doing. So for the button, I'm going to change that one to clear button, And for the text part of it, instead of button 1, let's go ahead and call that one an ampersand first and then clear. So once you click that, you will notice that the underline is showing up. The underline character actually is showing up. Let's add on the top, of course, you will see that you can undo and redo the content. Later on I will show you some other features that you can actually use. So if we go to the top menu, you will see start. That's how you run your program. So I'm going to run this program, and just this is what the user sees, and add my password, which is PCC in this case, and then process, and then clear, and as you've seen, nothing happened. That's just a Microsoft Word document. So later on we're going to add codes to that, so you see how they work. The next button will actually exit the program. Similar to other buttons, we just rename that, and this one should be exit button, and then ampersand, so you see that E ampersand X IT. So this is how it's gonna look like when we run the program. Then I'm gonna add a control named as tooltip. This becomes available to all controls that you have on your phone. And then the function of that is like HTML tag. So you select the control, and then under tooltip that I added, you just add more descriptive statement to tell the user what do you mean by process, what this does when I press that. So right there under tooltip, I'm going to add this button will clear the text boxes and maybe we have some other items that I will add to it, later on. And of course the other one is the exit button. This button will close the application. Okay. So if we run this program as it is, you will notice that when I move my mouse over these buttons, the little instruction that I provided are going to appear. This is very important to the user because some of them really do not know what you mean by process or clear or exit. Okay, so that was for these little controls that we added. I wanna actually go ahead and code this process button. So as you see, a private void process button, and then there are two brackets. So that is the event, click event. This will take place only when you click it. And then what is going to be displayed is a method that we are going to add. That is basically a message box. You will see about message boxes later on, but for now just a message box, as you see. And when you put a dot, that is known as IntelliSense because it will show you the other options. Show is the one that I want to use, and then parentheses, that is a method, and then you're gonna go and put the text that you want the user see that you clicked on process button. So that is a class, the other one is a method, and the other one is a string. So let's do that. We need to close this by adding something to that, but I don't want to do that because I want to show you exactly what happens when we don't add the correct punctuation. So you're gonna run the program, and then it comes back with an error. You should say no rather than yes. Always say no, because the error is not gonna go away. It's gonna go back to the last working copy, and then it tells you exactly what is expected. It is expected to see a semicolon. Where? Right there, the place that is actually red with squeaky line. So once I add it, when I run the program, you notice that this will show up. So we're gonna add some more codes. Also, if you hold Alt plus P, you will see this message, because that's a shortcut that we added. So I am going to show you how to add comments in C#. So anywhere within your program you can put double slashes and add any text, and the text will be ignored by the compiler. And as you see, it appears in green fonts. Every method of your program needs to have a comments. For example, right there, you need to add a comment, at least one line of comments. and it just says what that is. Sorry, my system is a little slow. Okay, so that was for this part. I want to code the clear button for you. So the same thing as I explained before. The first add comment, this method will clear text boxes. And then after that, we are going to use the property values of each text box. For example, name text box dot text, and that's the property. The name of the object, property equal sign, and null. Null means nothing. Okay, that's the value that we are adding. We are adding value null to the text property of name text box. That's how that will be cleared. And then for the password, very similar to what we did here. Same thing right there. Okay. We may come back to this later on and do a few experiments. So if we run this project, you will see that Mike and then if I click on clear or Alt and C, they are going to clear these two text boxes. Either one will work fine. For exit, what I want to add is actually this method, and as your book explains, method is basically the action that will be taken anytime that you click, double click, or ask the computer to do something for you. That's a method, and in this case I am closing the form. This means the current form. You will see this a lot. So anytime that you see this, it means that they are talking about the current form that you are working with, because there might be more than one form. And this is the method to close your program. Normally what we do, we add a warning prior to that. So I'm gonna just do that, a message box. Not show. At this point we are not giving any option to the user to change his mind, but later on you will see that you can do that easily. Your program will be terminated. Okay. So let's run the program once again. And then if I click on this first, and I will be using Alt X, and as you see the mouse hasn't moved, and the message box popped up, and then if I click on that, as you see, the program will be terminated. So let me add one more control here, and that should be actually a picture box. And resize that. This and then a label for its description, and I'm going to put that one right under that. Okay. Let's change his name. Let's call it cabinet picture box. And of course there is no text property that I want to change that. And for the tooltip, I'm going to put click to see description. Yeah. And there is a smart tag right there, and one of them is of course choosing image, and then I'm gonna set the mode to stretch image, because I want the image fits my picture box. And then under choose image, import, and there I have an image cabinet, and this is what it is, and then I'm gonna say OK, and as you see it fits the picture box that I created before. And then I also have a label. I'm gonna rename that cabinet label. And then I double click the picture box, and then typing this cabinet label dot text is equal to the best cabinet for $2.99. Okay, so this is what you see on the top. Now, what I'm going to do first, I am going to You remember that this goes under the click event of that. Okay. And then when you click on that, that shows up. Now I want to change that a little bit so it would look different. So I want to make sure that when the user clicks on process, then the picture box pops up. So right there, while the picture box is selected, let's go down, and then there is a property, as you see, visible. Let's make that property to false rather than visible. And let's do the same thing for that label as well. I'm going to change that to false. Okay? Then what I'm going to do, so when we run this program, you will notice that there is no picture, there is no image at all. Okay, so I'm going to go under the process and make that picture box visible. Okay. So cabinet picture box not visible is equal to true. Okay. No. Now that I did that, I want to make the label visible under the cabinet picture. Okay. And let's add a little comment. So now, if I click on this, the cabinet picture is going to show up. When I click on the cabinet, the price is going to show up. However, what I want to do, I want to make sure that every time that I click on process, the image shows up. So what I'm going to do, under the clear button, I'm going to clear the image and also the label. So I make that invisible under clear, and then I make it visible under the process. And I'm showing you exactly what it does. So when I click clear, and then it's going to show up more and more, and of course the other buttons are working as well, including exit. When I click on that, the program will be terminated. Before we leave, you need to remember that you need to save all. Save all. And there is no save as in C# programming in Visual Studio, so you must save all. Okay? And then I'm going to add some more comments to make them more clear. And you will see this in the actual program, of course. Okay. Now there are two important buttons that I will show you how to use them. You see right up there, there is a button. If you click on that, it says comment out, and then all selected texts are going to be commented out, and the other one, of course, is uncomment. This is specifically useful when you have a set of instructions and you don't want to really delete them, but you want to hide them for testing purposes. So as you see, you can comment them, and the button next to that, once you highlight that and then you click on it, it says that uncomment the selected area. Once you do that, that actually converts that back to a code, which is a very useful a tool that Microsoft has provided. In many cases, for debugging purposes, you really need to do that rather than just deleting everything and retyping. Okay, and once again, don't forget to save all.